for him, maybe not to be wrestling. For me, maybe that's a little different. But I still get to get out to some of his events. Had a pretty special opportunity to coach him at Folk Style Nationals last year, and he was able to come away with a pretty cool stop sign, and helped out Valiant in Fargo and was able to be in his corner at Fargo for those matches. So I don't think that I don't really maybe get to coach him anymore. Maybe I'm not in the room on a daily basis, a consistent basis, but I also think there's some positive in that, right? Like those relationships sometimes, they can be a little bit tenuous, and maybe your kid doesn't always want to listen to what you have to say, and he's got opinions on things, right? He's 16 now, and so he's full of opinions about things, and dad's opinion isn't always the best opinion. So I like that I get to play, the role of dad, at the tournament. I get to be more of the, like, do you want a Gatorade? Do you need a pretzel? As opposed to, right, like, hey, you really need to do A, B, C, or D. It's been hard at times watching him perform at tournaments and not being there. But I think that's helped him kind of grow up a little bit. And I think it's, just been part of the process. It's happened for him earlier than maybe we would have anticipated if you asked us 6 or 7 years ago. But, I think it's positive, and, he gets to be around a lot of great people who really care about him, and I couldn't ask more for that. And so, I just feel like it's been amazing. We've been really blessed to have quite a few people, cross his path who are pretty amazing and help out quite a bit. So, I guess long and short of that, like, why isn't he wrestling for me? Well, because that was his choice, but at the same time that ultimately becomes inevitable at some point as you kind of continue on with your wrestling career. So, we'll never stop being parents. We'll never stop supporting the goal. We'll never stop trying to find a way to get him where he needs to be so he can reach his peak potential as a human and as a wrestler. But, at the end of the day, I can't complain. I work in a school too, so I think that there's some similarities, lots of similarities, and there's some differences as well. I think that parents need to know that the schedule is pretty unique, right? There's the Monday through Thursday school, and then Friday off, except for the study hall, right? And so if your kid is not performing academically where they want them, they go in for that study hall period. And I think that's pretty unique. I've seen programs like that, but they're usually on Saturdays, and so I think that's a pretty unique little piece to Valiant that's maybe not necessarily the same as everywhere else. Class sizes are really small, right? Not really, really small, but small, and so there's small class sizes, and I think it's a positive that you're in a small class. I know that some people might kind of gripe about that either way, but you're also going to have the same teachers kind of throughout your course, which is unique. Like, I teach U.S. history, so I teach 11th graders, maybe some 10th graders, maybe a few seniors, but I get this bulk of kids, and then they move on. I don't have them next year. At Valiant, you're going to kind of have those same teachers throughout. It's actually called looping, and it's done in educational settings, and there's a lot of benefit to that. So I know that that's just a kind of a little bit different, and I think that's a little bit different for parents. But I don't think that it's wholly different where you're at this school that's not like a school. Maybe, like I mentioned, I was at a football game Friday night. Maybe there's no football game Friday night. Maybe there's not quite those things, but I think there's a multitude of programs at Valiant, and I think they're constantly looking to make it better and to make it more, which it's still in its infancy. So I think that, as things start to open up, you're going to see some changes. But I think one of the unique things is Valiant's kind of a one-stop shop. So recently, I was talking to somebody about this, and they were a middle school parent. And, I said, if you are a middle school wrestler, anywhere, you go to school all day and then you have middle school wrestling practice for a short period of time, maybe a 9-week period. And you do like I don't know, whether it's a, hour and a half practice after school. Well, the more dedicated kids after that practice, they're going to take a shower, go home, they're going to get in their car, they're going to drive over to a place like Thoroughbred, to a place like Grindhouse, to a place like anywhere you're getting, your club, and then you're going to get your club in, and your club's going to be from, 6 to 8 at night, and then it's going to be 8 o'clock at night, and then you're going to come home, and then the kid's going to try to eat dinner, do a little bit of homework, get a shower. It's 9:30 at night. Maybe that's 3 nights a week. Tournament on the weekend. But I think with Valiant, one of the great things is kids are done by, I don't know exactly when the middle school gets out. I think it's a little bit later than the high school, but they're out by 3:30. It's done. They've got their work in. There's not really a club per se to worry about, because you kind of have that all year. So I think that's unique. Wrestling parents, especially dedicated wrestling parents, are used to kind of shuttling their kids all over, but you can kind of get it all in one place, and I think that's something that's really unique and really cool. The unique thing about Valiant is, like, you never know who's going to be in the room. Like, Dino come home and be like, hey, guess who was in the room today? I'm like, I don't know, right? Like, and it's this guy was in, or this guy was in, or this college is visiting this kid doing a home visit, so they came in to watch practice, or just the connections that the Valiant staff has in the wrestling world are great. Go to school, there's a teacher, you learn curriculum. I don't think those things change. You go to practice at the end of the day. Those things don't change. I mean, maybe there are some things that are a little bit different just because maybe the population's not as big. Maybe they're not going to have their own prom. Maybe they're not going to do those things. But I don't think that means that you can't have those experiences. Kids are still getting to go to dances and do things of that nature. There's the idea of what a school is, like a traditional sense, and Valiant does have some things that are a little bit different, and that's just something that you need to weigh whether or not you think that is critical for your kid, or if your kid thinks that's critical for them and their development. And those are the decisions that I think people have to make when it comes down to where are we going to go, what are we going to do, and how we're going to accomplish this goal. And so there is some unique stuff to Valiant in terms of that, but we've found our experience to be very much like your typical school experience. Obviously, little unique at Valiant because they're together all the time, and so a lot of kids will go to a high school and then spend some time in the club after high school, after high school practice or whatever, or preseason, postseason, but Valiant always has practice, and so they're always together. So I think that maybe there's the myth that they're exclusive, but I can tell you this, like I pop into the room when I can to try to watch practice, or if Angel's like, hey, can you come in and show this or whatever. I try to come in when I can, and I see kids from all over the place. Just the other day on our October break, I came into practice, and Josie Hickman happened to be in practice that day, and when he came in, everybody, he just committed to Northwestern, so everybody was congratulatory and excited about it and felt good about it. And CNL last year, they did take some kids who weren't necessarily maybe kids who were attending Valiant. I know that they did the same thing for the middle school group last year. They had some kids kind of come in and get some goes at the PNL event that happened at Mesquite High School. But I will say this: they're training specifically, and Coach Cejudo has a vision, a goal in mind, something he's trying to accomplish. And so, yes, they are in their room a lot, working with their staff a lot, which is honestly not something I see as exclusive. We had a kid come in our room the other day from Michigan, and he got a workout in with us, and I said, "Are you looking to get a workout in tomorrow?" And they're like, "Yeah, we'd like to get one in." It's a family that visits every year. And so I called up Coach Douglas and I was like, "Hey, there's a great family from Michigan who comes in our room every year, and they'd like the opportunity to come in tomorrow. Do you think that's possible?" And he was like, "Yeah, 100%. Bring them in. That'd be great." I mean, yeah. We honestly probably, if we knew everything, probably would have just started earlier, and that would have been the path. Knowing what we know now, and obviously Dean would have been involved with Valiant, and so because he would have been involved with Valiant, obviously I think would have made that choice a little bit earlier, like we said. So yeah, I mean, no regrets, right? Feel good about the process, feel good about the place, feel good about the people, and I just can't say enough about it. It's been a great situation for him. It's been phenomenal for us as parents, and so yeah, I mean, we love and we're committed to the Valiant College Prep process. Early to middle adolescent period is a time of great change in a kid's life, period. But I think he's had the opportunity to flourish there, and he has flourished. Wrestling wise, obviously he's developed, and because of the system in place there, I think he's been allowed to kind of find what works for him, what's positive for him, and he's had the opportunity to kind of explore that a little bit more freedom in that process. But I also think he's just developed as an individual. There have been pivotal people along the way. I think when he was in junior high, Mr. Morgan really challenged him. Not in a negative way, but just challenged him to do some things, and really saw that through, and we're forever grateful. That character development and things of that nature. There's a teacher at Valiant, Mr. Popham, and that guy's gold, man. He's amazing, and he's been a great mentor for my kid. He's been someone that Dean will come home and talk about. Dean didn't talk as much about school before Valiant, but he talks a lot more about school. I remember I was taking him and Nikki Mesa somewhere, and they were talking about this assignment that they had and this debate that they're having on it, and I don't think those things were happening as much maybe before, but now they're happening. He's, I think, reaching a different level of focus in the sport, right? You go and it's 9 o'clock at night, and I'm sitting at the kitchen table finishing up some work for school or something, and he's, "Hey Dad, there was this wrestler from Azerbaijan from 2007 to 2010, and he did this, and what do you think? And come here, let me show you this." And it's like, Dean, it's 9 o'clock at night, just like go play Fortnite with your friends or something, and he's, and so I think there's a deeper commitment there. He genuinely cares about his teammates, and you just don't see that to that degree, I guess, when they're younger. So it's been kind of cool to see that, like him watch results when he's not going, or results what people are doing, and really just kind of buy into that, and that's been really special. I think that there's just been character development period, and so I think that those